So you are creating an in-memory implementation when running tests. That's good. That's what I recommend. Because then you don't need to persist files to disk and then have to clean it up afterwards. You do everything in memory. It's much faster as well. So then you get a background context from the stack.
Yes, because in the real app, I want to persist it on the background thread. I don't want to block the main thread. So in the test, I want to recreate that situation.
All right. So the threading model for core data is that each context has its own. So this is a background context. It has its own queue of operations. And you can only mutate objects inside this context within that queue. Otherwise, you may have race conditions if you have multiple contexts changing the same model. So the way to do it is to wrap any operation on objects inside that context into the perform block.
Okay.
Because this perform block will guarantee that the managed context will call this block here, execution, inside its context. So it's safe to perform any operations inside the context queue, this block here. But if you do it outside, you will have concurrency issues because the tests are run on the main thread. But this is a background context that is using a separate background queue.
I see.
So trying to create a place inside this context in the main queue. Here we are in the main queue because we are in the test target. And you're trying to create an object inside a background context from the main queue. And this can generate issues.
Okay, I see.
So you have two APIs, perform for running code asynchronously, and perform and wait to run asynchronously.
I think now you can also use like a wait perform, right?
Yes. In the tests, we don't need it. It needs to be within the context queue. And how to access that queue is to call perform or perform and wait. Now, I want to use perform and wait in the test here. Because if I use the perform, it's going to run this block asynchronously. So the test will finish before this method is called. So any assertions you have inside of this test will not run. So the test will pass regardless if the behavior is correct or not.
Because there's no assertion.
Yes, because the test scope finished before. So, but if you run perform and await, this is a blocking call. It's a synchronous call. It will block until all of this is finished.
Okay, makes sense.
And it only will return from the test scope once all of this operation is finished. And it unblocks this execution. You could also do the same with by doing await, perform, then you need to make your test async. This will also await, right? It will stop execution until it's done.
I see. Okay.
They're both valid solutions. Await, it's the new APIs, or you can use the old ones, which also blocks perform and wait.
Prefer the new one.
All right. Let's run the test. You will see. Let's put a breaking point here. So the test runs on the main queue.
That's good to know.
Well, not if it's an async test.
Oh, Yeah, I mean, we can change it to this performance wait, I guess.
Let me run the test.
By the way, how did you know the current thread? Like, where do you tell?
Yeah, from the navigator pane on the left. Yeah, I'll show you now. You can see this. Yeah, but
Is the test running?
did you run?
Yes.
And
All right.
passed. Okay.
It's running and it passed.
Yeah. Can you just add a breakpoint so we can show the thread? Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, there you go.
As you can see, it's in the main thread. So
Yeah,
the test is executed on the main thread. But if you run this, if you try to create an object in a background context in the main thread, you may have issues.
I see.
So you need to run any operations on the context or on the objects inside the context. It's not thread safe. It needs to be within the queue.